analysis on Radu Dragusin. Tremendous wonderkid Juventus, great talent, born 2002. As you can see, central defender, physically gifted, and if you can develop um, certain aspects of his game, which we're going to talk about, he is going to be a world-class central defender, the best one that Romania has had since Popescu, possibly. So here we go. All right, there's a little bit of intro. Big fan of this kid. I think he should be playing in the national team already. I think the experience would help him, and he's going to be a big part of the fray for a good 10, 15 years. So here he goes. So he knows he's physically superior at this level. So what you see him do is he turns inside. Now, one of the things you're told as a defender is to, right here, to not turn inside, but he knows that he's in a good power position to quick hip fire and shoot out. The mistake he makes here is he shoots straight instead of diagonally. I think it's because his legs aren't and his core haven't caught up to his growth spurt. And he's a young guy. He just hit a big growth spurt. He's not physically mature yet, and he doesn't have that strength. He needs to hit the gym. That first stride should have been a shootout, like a little bit of a switch should have gone off, and he should have fired. His hips pushed the ball out and met the ball in one stride instead of three or four. Uh, let me go back and make sure you see what I mean here. Here he goes. 1, 2, 3. He took 3 steps when he really only needed 1. That's because he's running with his chest behind his knees, and that's a young kid that doesn't know how to control his body yet and isn't strong enough to control it. So that's definitely something he needs to work on. Turns outside beautifully here. Only complaint is that he's foot's on top of the ball when he turns. When you get a bigger, stronger guy in Serie A, they're gonna take advantage of that. You're not strong when you got 1 foot off the ground, and guys are gonna take advantage of that. This is junior level, so they're able to. It's not junior, but it's like 3rd tier, right? So he can get away with these sorts of things. Again, foot's on top of the ball. You'll see it right here. I don't like this technique. I'd much rather him take that right foot, use the outside of the foot, and push out and accelerate from his box stance. Instead, he does a quick turn, and it almost gets him into trouble. All right, great anticipation, and this is what I like about this kid. He's defensively sound. He's got physical gifts, but he can also develop that offensive game in the future, and that's a big plus. I think that when you look at this kid, the sky's the limit as long as he's developed properly. You see his eyes, perfect alignment. He gets in towards the chest. He's closing him out, and you see this big frame coming at you. Where he goes wrong, though, is that when this guy pushes out on the ball, he doesn't box him out. He doesn't turn his hips inside to his hips and cut a lane off. The other alternative is you come across with your hips facing this lateral direction, and you use your left foot to cut the angle off. But he does a good job, and it goes out. He could have won the throw, but he lost the throw because of that. This reminds me of Kyrgios. He's sliding. I don't like when guys slide. Uh, Another one. I don't like when guys slide, especially when they're big frames and they're strong, because what they're going to be able to do is when he develops, when he gets into the squat room and he really works on his glutes, his core, and his his legs overall development of his legs and his core, he's going to have the strength to just hold his position against guys. And they'll have to go through him to get by him. And right now he is diving to the ground. And you might think, oh, well, like the ball's over here, he went through. But he could have won the ball and this guy just pick it up and you win possession instead of kicking it out. So what's happening here is his knees are ahead of his chest when he runs, and he doesn't know how to slow down his momentum. His legs are weak, is what that means. He's young, so he probably had a big growth spurt, is my guess, and he needs the mass there to figure it out. Great positioning. He's a quality player. Like, look at the positioning there. He's playing right back, it looks like here. Uh, his head's up. He's in position. He's calm. Uh, no complaints here. Just looks fantastic. Uh, he should have passed it um, to this guy here because he's wide open, and then he could come into space. The reason why he passed it through here is because when he got the ball, he took it on to his right foot, I believe. See his right foot? If he were to take an outside touch with his left boot right there and knowing that he has space, he opens up a lane for here, and then this guy's going to drop here, and this guy's going to drop here or cut through into that space up here if you follow my cursor. So if he can touch that with his left boot when he's playing right back, cut inside, he's got this guy available, and this guy's going to drop. So then he's got 1, 2, 3 options. That's the triangle. It'll turn into a square actually, but this guy really should be cutting out here and trying to drag this guy with him and this guy away from this guy. So he makes a bad pass. Again, the slide tackle. And let's look very close, please. Look where his knee is compared to his chest. If you can see that closely, look where my cursor is. That's where his knee is. And look how far back his chest is from the cursor. That is not a good stride. That's not a powerful stride. It's a long stride. It's not a powerful stride. And what happens is he's off balance and he can't stop. Kyrgios has the same problem. But this kid's 19 and he can learn, he can develop. So he slide tackles. Again, slide tackles because watch where his chest is when he's running. It's a very simple correction if you can teach this kid how to run properly. But his chest is behind his knees. And when you have your chest behind your knees, nothing good comes of it. Okay, so sorry, I missed that one. So he tracks back here and just brute physical strength. Cuts the guy off, going forward. Great finish. That's a good dig. That's a real good dig. He digs that out from deep. Again, he digs it out nicely. And you could tell he's got good feet. He's a big towering figure, so he's gonna win headers. Perfect. That right there is perfect. And if I'm his trainer, look at his hip. I was saying in the last video, if you watch my video with Vlad Kyrgios, how he needs to turn his hips to the outside to defend the guy and guide him to the outside and keep that inside boot aware And look what he does. He boxes him out. Exactly what I said Kyrgios needs to learn how to do. This is why this kid should be in the national team and Kyrgios shouldn't be. Okay? Flat out. He's better. And look at that box out. Perfect. This kid, when he gets to the gym and improves his leg strength, he is going to be a physical beast. Okay? Again, look at the positioning. Look at where he is separating the man from the ball. The other guy's out of play. And he takes over. Perfect. Gets on the wrong side of him, wins the ball with his force again, wins the ball with his body again. Perfect box out yet again. Oh my goodness. Like this is art. The way he's boxing these guys out when he stays on his feet. It's when it gets to a little bit of a higher pace, he doesn't have the leg strength to slow down and navigate. But look at this. So right here, he's going slow. His posture is not very good, because you can see his hamstrings are kind of weak. If you look, he's not in actual seated position. He's leaning forward with his hamstrings not at a 90-degree angle. And the problem with that is that he's big and he's getting away with it there, but he's not as mobile and he's not as explosive. So he wants to be a little more um, flexible and strong in his hamstrings, it looks like. But he does a great job spacing and gap control. Comes back, wins the challenge, beautiful. Gap control, perfect again. His gap control is perfect again. His gap control is perfect again. But there's an issue here. Perfect gap control, this young player. So he's in this position, and if you see, his knee is so far on his left boot is so far ahead of his chest that he cannot slow down. So what he needs is the leg strength this guy's already turned out of space, to be able to rotate his hips and carry the ball to the outside. He's big enough, he's strong enough. He just needs to improve his leg strength. I mean, his upper body strong enough. So he gets that step, and instead of awkwardly, look at this line. It's really ugly. If somebody tackles him in this position, he's injured. Uh, it's hyperextension. He needs to get low, use those hamstrings, and rotate his body to this outside. Get into this spot right here and find a guy on an outlet. He'll get that with time, hopefully. Again, he's positionally sound for the most part. Terrific touch. And notice where his chest is. Okay, look where his chest is. His chest and his knees are aligned. And you see the explosiveness. That guy pushes him and he just goes straight through. So you see where I'm going with this kid is that if he gets a bit more mass and strength in his lower body, he is going to be an absolute beast. The rest of his game is there. Again, you're going to see his legs when he's dribbling are getting a little ahead of himself. And we don't want to see that. Look at this. Look where his knee is. You see that why that's a bad touch? His knee is ahead of his chest yet again. And look where that ball goes on the next two touches. He didn't control it. And what you want to see is that knee stay below the chest and your touches be a little tighter. But he's growing into his body. So what's my thoughts on Dragusin? I would put him on a routine to get his core and his legs stronger. I would beef him up like 15 pounds, about 7, 8 kilos, uh, maybe 6 to 8 kilos, let's say, and it would be all lean mass in his lower body. I would make him a powerful central defender. He already has the mental mechanics and a lot of his gap control and ability to create distance between him and the offensive players is great. He needs to stop putting his foot over top of the ball. He needs to develop, but I think that gets corrected when he gets a little stronger. He gets a little stronger, and that outside touch of the boot is going to be more powerful because he's going to be in control, and he's going to have a good center of gravity that's going to go down to that box position, that 90-degree angle where he can explode out and fire off out of one direction to another. And when he develops this to his game, this is a world-class central defender in the works. He's already got the tools physically, except for his leg strength, and he's going to grow into his body. He's 19, right? So give it time, but get him in the weight room and get working on that because he really he's the best defender Romania's had in a I'd say I haven't seen another Romanian defender so dominant and with so much potential. It's alarming to see such a talent in Romania because there really hasn't been. Kivu was a different type of talent. Popescu was maybe the closest thing we had to this. Uh, Radu Dragusin, he's the real deal, and uh, and he really should be in the national team right now. If you like what I'm doing, let's watch my other videos. I've got more coming in the future and interviews and so on. So I hope you enjoyed and have a good evening.